Hey, what's up, guys? Tiny Grouper here, back at it again with a new video. And recently, PC Gamer had an interview with Marvel Rivals dev Guang Wang, and they were basically talking about the state of the game and the balance of the game and how to balance the game going forward. But outside of that, some takeaway that I had from the interview was they talked about team ups, and they said in season two that they're going to be removing some team ups, adding some team ups, and changing around the ones that we currently have. So that gave me an idea, and I was like, why not make my own video on some team ups that I'd personally like to see added in the game or changed around and stuff like that. But without any further ado, to keep you guys waiting, let's just get straight into it. So first, we're gonna start off with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, the obvious elephant in the room is that we're missing two key members, at least from what we know from the movies, and that's Drax and Gamora. But what we're gonna be doing is we're just gonna use simply Groot, Star Lord, Rocket Raccoon, and Mantis. I necessarily don't want to add Adam Warlock in it yet because I feel like that'd probably be a little bit too broken with his team up what he already has. Now the thing is with the Guardians of the Galaxy is, as you can see in this comic panel I have on screen right now, is that they love to fight. And with Star Lord being their official team leader, I feel like we should do something along the lines of make him the team anchor and give Groot, Rocket, and Mantis just a little bit more firepower and, be able to just deal more damage and become more offensive threats. Okay, so right here, I kind of like put my thoughts on paper. So, first of all, the team name would be Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously, and we'd have Star Lord as the team anchor. Now, what I noticed in the game is all three of the classes get the same team up bonus. So all DPS gets 15% damage boost. All tanks get 150 health. Well, they nerfed it for some, so some get 100 health. And healers get 15% healing boost. Some actually only get 5. But yeah. Yeah, so for Groot, what we're gonna do for him is, the big Ironwood wall he has that gives him more health. When teamed up with Star-Lord, Groot Iron Wall can now deal damage similar to his Thorn Walls. I'm not sure how we'd really balance that. We probably let it do half the damage because it's like triple the size, right? So you can't necessarily let it do full damage because that'd just pretty much be broken. So let's just say it does like half the damage. When he plates it down, he could actually deal damage with that in accordance with his Thorn Walls as well as gain health for that. I think that one's pretty big. And for Rocket, Rocket Raccoon can now fire explosive grenades. So we're gonna give Rocket because he's the tech guy of the group. He's like the ammunition guy. So he's now gonna be able to shoot some rockets, probably similar to Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl is able to fire the acorns and they explode. As much as I hate them, but yeah. And then for Mantis, I was kind of struggling on what exactly to give Mantis, but I settled on giving her two more extra life orbs. So she can. It brings the total to 6 because she currently has 4. So that makes her a better healer too. Like in the really thick of it fight, she can actually heal better, and she actually could also deal more damage because she could delegate an extra 2 of them to damage, give more damage buff for the teammate. It all depends on how you want to play the character. But yeah, I feel like that would be a great team for the Guardians of the Galaxy. And let's move on to the next. Now, my favorite superhero of all time is Black Panther. And when I realized that team ups was in the game, and I noticed that Black Panther and Storm wasn't a team up, I was kind of sad. Not gonna lie. These are like two of the coolest characters you have in just Marvel, in my opinion, really. And for those of you that don't know, Black Panther and Storm actually was married. They had a whole love thing. They had a whole love story, but unfortunately, they had to break up at the end because due to differences with Namor being an X-Man and attacking Wakanda and all that other stuff. But without that, all that other stuff out of the way, let's get into the team up. So, for a lack of a better name, I decided to name this team up King and Queen. Of course, Black Panther, with him being the king of Wakanda, he's going to be the team anchor. He's a DPS, so he gets the 15% damage bonus. But the ability that Storm should get from this, I think she should gain an ability that allows her, after hitting a target with a certain ability, it marks them, similar to how Black Panther can mark targets with his spear. Let's give Storm an ability where she hits the target, it marks them, and then it ensures her next attack will land. So she marks the target, and just like how Black Panther marks with his spear, and the next attack she does is like an auto aim. Obviously, if they're in the line of sight or whatever. And I don't feel like it's too broken because Storm doesn't have one singular individual attack that's that strong. She kind of is strong because she does like consistent quick damage over time. But yeah, I feel like that really play into their whole dynamic. Moving on to our next team up, we have Cap and Bucky. I believe this is the most requested one. This is the most popular one. I honestly don't know how they launched the game and didn't make these two guys a team up because they literally go way back. So what I'm thinking here is because of all the times that they fought together, they obviously learned from each other. And in the movies, you can actually see sometimes where the Winter Soldier actually blocks bullets with his arm. And I think that pairs well because Cap has a shield. He's pretty protective. So once again, for lack of a better name, I decided to go with Friends Forever. Obviously, making Captain America the team anchor. We're gonna give him 100 health as opposed to 150 because 150 health would be crazy to give to Captain America at this state in the game. So right here, we're gonna give Winter Soldier ability that allows him to enter a guard mode where he could block incoming damage and reflect projectiles using his metal arm. So I know that might sound a little scary, but in this mode he wouldn't be able to attack, of course. And it's just kind of in the mirror. The same thing Captain America is going on with his shield. So Bucky, he just like holds his arms up. We just give him like a slowdown bonus. Kind of like how Mr. Fantastic is when he enters his inflated form. And it's not going to be much damage, but he could block all projectiles and reflect them back. And, just to give him a little bit more survivability on a character that doesn't really even need anything else. But I feel like that would be the best fit for his abilities. And, it ties in well with Captain America. Another underrated team up in this game that I think should be added is between Doctor Strange and Magic. These are two fan favorite characters now. They're two highly popular characters in the game. And just for a little bit of information, Strange actually teaches Magic how to use her mystic arts. You know, so much so that even in the newly released Strange Academy issues, Magic is actually a teacher at Doctor Strange's school. So that's pretty much how good of a relationship they have. So the name of this ability is simply going to be named Mystic Arts. Doctor Strange is obviously going to be the team anchor because he's the teacher, and we're going to give him 100 health, which is a lot, especially for a character like Doctor Strange. But he is a Vanguard, so that's the team up bonus they get. With Magic, we're going to give her an ability where she gets an extra portal, but this is only for evasion purposes. So she can't perform her Eldritch Whirl out of it, and she cannot perform her Demon Rage out of it. This portal ability is solely just for her to get that extra vulnerability, that extra invulnerability, and that extra movement to get away. That's literally all this ability is for. So you could fully use your two abilities in the fight if you want, but that next ability, you have that as a dash to get away if you want to and if you need to. That's pretty it. It's pretty simple because, she likes portals, Doctor Strange likes portals. Now going on to two mortal enemies pretty much at this point. Hulk and Thing, bro, whenever they see each other in the comics, it's just always on sight. These two guys just always go at it against each other. But there have been times where, they put aside their differences and work together. And that's what we're going to be focusing on here. I've decided to name their team up Unstoppable Force and Immovable Object because the Thing is immovable in this game because he's immune to CCs, and the Hulk just supposed to be like this never-ending powerful force that you just can't slow down or stop. So for this, I'm gonna make the Thing the team anchor, and he's a Vanguard, so he'll be getting a health bonus. I think 100 health is good because he sits at, I believe, 700 health right now. So that'd bring him up to 800. And I don't want to give Hulk the team anchor because he already is a team anchor and, the health is not going to stack or anything like that. so I don't want to really waste that on Hulk. But let's get into the ability. Hulk simply just gains the ability where he can now become immune to CC and displacement abilities. So, he just gets the things passive. So you pick these two guys, you go in the back line, you just destroy the enemy's back line because they can't CC you, they can't stun you, and that's gonna make Wolverine a little bit more weaker. Well, a decent bit more weak in this current meta too, and make Hulk a little bit more viable. He doesn't have to worry about the grab from Wolverine, getting webbed by Penny when he tries to jump away, and the thing is really gonna benefit from extra 100 health. All right, so another team up we have here is Spider-Man and the Human Torch. Um, for those of you guys that don't read comics, these two always mess with each other any chance that they get. Sometimes they get in actual serious fights. Most of the time, they're just playing around, just having fun, pranking one another. I believe they even had a prank war going on in one of the comics. So they're kind of like frenemies. They love each other, but they hate each other. And the hate is normally what they show. So, with Spider Man and the Human Torch, I decided to name their team up Frenemies, as I said, and because Spider-Man is a DPS, he's gonna get 15% damage, which is gonna be big. The Spider-Man guy is always crying for damage, and it's kind of crazy that Spider-Man isn't a team anchor in this game yet. Like one of Marvel's most popular characters isn't the face of a team. But what this is gonna do is it's gonna give a slowdown for those that are inside the Human Torch's flame walls. Because the problem that he has now is after he already sets it up, people literally just walk out of it. They just remove themselves from that flame wall. So if we give him, because you could kind of say like, all right, it's sticky inside there. It's like a webbed flame wall. That's why it's taking long for enemies to get out. And I don't feel like this game has enough slowdown effects. I know it can sometimes be annoying, but it also adds counterplay and a little bit of more strategy into the game. So when Human Torch sets down his flame walls with this team up, enemies just move slower and it just takes longer for them to get out. So just think the slowdown effect from Black Widow's ult or something along those lines. All right, a next team up that doesn't have any precedent in the comics is I want to team up Hela and Magik. And that's simply because, Hela is a female leader and ruler of the underworld, and Magik is a female leader and ruler of her own underworld. You know, so Magik controls Limbo, Hela controls Hell, as her name implies. So original. But I'm thinking along the lines of letting Magik, like Hela, bestowing Magik with some of the powers from Hell, and let's see what that look like. So I am naming their team Underworld Goddesses, right? Team Anchor is going to be Hela because, she's been doing it longer. She has seniority. And, she's a DPS, so she gets 15% damage boost, right? Magik, however, she gains a new Hell Demon to summon after Eldritch World, which is 50% stronger than a standard Demon Rage spawn. She can have both the standard and Hell Demon active. So what I'm saying is, kind of like how Luna Snow buffs Namor, how she gives him an ice octopus. We're gonna have the same thing here. So the demon that Magik spawns, we could probably just give a little green one or something to denote it's from Hell, and that's gonna be 50% stronger than a standard one. So it's like it has twice as much health, it does 50% more damage, and now she can put down two. Because if you guys didn't know, she can't have up two of her Demon Rage spawns. The minute she puts down one, the other one disappears. So this she can keep two of them up, and one of them is a lot stronger, thus making I don't know. I feel like that's pretty strong for Magik. That'd be a big deal in my opinion. But yeah. You could just say something along the lines like, all the souls she killed, Hela takes to Hell, because that's all Hela wants in the long run anyway. So that's probably why she's imbuing her with these Hell magics. For our final team up of the video, we're gonna go with Reed, Tony, and Bruce. Um, they're pretty much the staples amongst the superheroes is like the smart guys, and every now and then they throw T'Challa in there. Hank Pym is pretty much also up there, but these three actually have like a relationship. Bruce and Tony more so than Reed, but they're still like the trio of the smart guys. I believe they get together not every night, well, every other night with Thunderbolt Ross, and they play poker together. They're just the trio of the smart guys. So I'm going to give them a 3-man team up based on their smarts. We're going to call this team up Earth's Greatest Minds. The team anchor is going to be Mr. Fantastic because he's the smartest out of the three, and he's also he's like the more standalone out of these three guys. So I know I said DPS gets 15% damage, but we all know that Mr. Fantastic is a vanguard hiding in the body of a tank. So we're going to give him plus 150 health, so bringing his skinny form health to 450. And yeah, his big form can get up to like 1,000 health now, I believe, which is crazy, and he needs it because after that nerf they gave him, he kind of fell off hard. But Iron Man and Bruce are gonna get the same thing from this team up, and that's basically that they just have the ability to activate like an energy shield or something around them, like something nanotechy or something sci-fi, where they just get like a 50% damage reduction whilst this is active. So think of like the team up that Sue gives the other Fantastic Four members, but instead of it being a health regen, it's just going to be a damage reduction overall. They don't get any health regen from it for the sake of keeping it a little bit different. I feel like this works well too because both more so Reed and Tony, they always have that preemptive mindset. They always want to stop things before they get bad. So them getting a damage reduction is pretty good, and it benefits the characters in game. Because Reed, he's getting the extra health, so that's like in a way making him boosting his survivability. And Iron Man is a flyer, so if you guys play flyers in the game, it's just harder for you guys to get heal. Healers rarely look at you guys. Healers rarely looked up, so it's a big plus for Iron Man to get that extra survivability. And same thing for Hulk, because he has the shield that got nerfed, and he actually has to jump in the back lines, and he gets focus fire. So him having a move where he could reduce that damage, that's also a big help to his kit as well too. Okay, and that brings us to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know if you guys could hear it, but I got myself a new mic, so no more roasting me of my bad audio quality from the older videos. And I just feel like that was a good little update. Just me chiming in on some new things that I see in the community. Just, show your support, like, comment if you want to see more videos like this. And leading up into season 2, because I believe we have 2-3 weeks left, we're going to have this video. I think I'm going to put out a part 2 to this to just wrap up some of the more team up ideas I have. And I've recently been trying to get to Celestial. I've been sitting in GM1 just ranking up and down for forever. So I might just drop a gameplay video on my climb from GM to Celestial 2. And I guess probably one more character tier list before the end of the season. Kind of compare and contrast my thoughts at the beginning of season 1.5 compared to the end of it going into season 2. Obviously, we'll follow that up with like a next quick season 2 tier list video. But that's enough of me rambling. I pinned some videos here for you guys to watch, and see you guys next time.